Hey there everyone, this is Bill from Blue Collar Commander, and we're here to bring you a deck tech on Goro-Goro and Satoru. Goro-Goro and Satoru are a legendary creature Goblin Human 3/4 that costs blue, black, red, and it reads, whenever one or more creatures you control that enter the battlefield this turn deal combat damage to a player, create a 5/5 red dragon spirit creature token with flying. It also has pay 1 and red, creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. When I saw this deck, the first thing I thought of was haste creatures, but then I really thought about it a little more, and I think that ninjutsu is actually a thing you can pull off here. Having been a longtime Yuriko player, unblockable creatures can be really cheap, so we can afford to pay the 2-mana tax to give them haste. When they hit, we get a 5/5. The next turn, we swing, bounce it out for a ninja that hits, so we get another 5/5 dragon, and then later on we can pay the 1 to cast it, and then pay the tax again, so we can get another 5/5. Starting with our unblockable 1/1s, we're going to have Good Ol' Lurker, Changeling Outcast, Tormented Soul, Triton Shorestalker, Slitherblade, Invisible Stalker, and Yuan-Ti Malison. Yuan-Ti Malison has some added benefit because he lets us venture into dungeons. Up next, starting with our ninjas, Silver Fur Master will reduce our ninjutsu ability cost and buff our ninjas in the process. Thousand Face Shinobi will come in and make a token copy of another target attacking creature since we're always getting ninjutsu it in. Nashi Moon Sage's Scion will allow us to exile cards off each player's deck and cast them using our life points instead of our mana. Sagashima Student will enter as a copy of any creature we want once we ninjutsu it in. Yuriko is a ninja EDH staple, and she turns any ninja combat damage into draw and burn as well. Prosperous Thief turns any ninja combat damage into a treasure per hit, so the ninjas and rogues that stick around will still be useful. Up next is Fallen Shinobi. When it connects, we exile the top 2 cards of the defending player's library. We can play those cards for free for the rest of the turn. Staying on the theme for ninja connecting combat damage, Ingenious Infiltrator will turn any instance of combat damage into a card draw as well. After that, we have Throat Slitter, who doubles his removal because he destroys a non-black creature every time he connects. Higure the Still Wind searches a ninja out every time he deals combat damage, and for 2 mana he can make any ninja creature unblockable. The last ninja card on the list is Inkai's Servant of Oni. When it connects, we can choose a creature from that player's graveyard and put it on the battlefield under our control, and it regenerates as well. The next section of our list is going to have cards that return creatures to our hand so we can reuse those ninjas. First up is Baron Tolarian Archmage. When he enters the battlefield, we can return a creature to our hand. And at the end step, every turn, if you've returned a permanent to your hand, you get to draw a card. Equilibrium allows us to pay 1 to recycle ninjas, or we can pay 1 every time we cast a creature spell to play bounty stacks with our opponents. The last card in this section is Cunning Evasion. Whenever a creature we control becomes blocked, we can return it to our hand, allowing us to put ninjas back in our hands so we can bounce the loop over and over. If these cards don't end up in our hand, don't worry, we still have ways to make our ninjas unblockable to continue the value train. Up first is Tetsuko Umezawa, Fugitive. He allows our little guys to go unblocked. Marchesa's Smuggler allows any creature we cast to get haste and unblockable, triggering our commander. Break Through the Line is the same thing, but it's an enchantment, and for only 1 red, it'll let any little guy get through, power 2 or less. Prowler's Helm lets any guy get through as long as your opponent doesn't control a wall. Subira, Tolzidi Caravaner, allows our little guys to get through for 1 mana, or can also recycle our hand in a pinch. Last up here is Alora, Mary Fief. She can make 1 of your creatures unblockable, and she can return a creature to your hand. The next section we're going to have a lot of token makers and token support. Let's see what's in there. If you control your commander, Loyal Apprentice will make you a 1/1 hasty flyer at the beginning of every combat step. Daring Piracy will make a 1/1 pirate with menace and haste every combat step, allowing you to get through even more. With our commander being a goblin, I couldn't leave out Krenko Mob Boss, who will double the number of goblins every turn. Thopter Spy Network will create us a 1/1 Thopter at the beginning of the upkeep, and allow us to draw a card if one of them connects. With all these tokens we're creating, Determined Iteration will allow us to populate one at the beginning of a combat step, but we'll have to sacrifice it at the end step. Mimic Vat is a classic that allows us to pay 3 mana and make a copy of any token that's imprinted below it. Dollhouse of Horrors kinda does the same thing. We get to exile a creature from our grave and make a construct. It gets bigger for every construct, and they have haste as well. Any creature we enchant with Endless Evil makes a 1/1 copy at the beginning of every upkeep. Jaxis allows us to pitch a card to make a token copy of any creature, but when it dies, we get to draw a card, so technically we're just rummaging. Tillinelli Summer lets us put a lot of mana into its ability to make a lot of 1/1 elemental creature tokens that are tapped and attacking whenever it attacks. When Delina Wildmage attacks, she makes a copy of a creature you control that's tapped and attacking. Sometimes she makes more than 1. Last on this list is Helm of the Host. We can equip it to our commander to get a token copy every turn. This will further boost our dragon output. Up next is a small package of recursion or pseudo-recursion cards so we can keep going from our grave as well. First off, we have Felton, who makes hasty tokens of creatures from our graveyard, but we gotta sacrifice him at the end step. After that, we've got Chainer Nightmare Adept, who allows us to discard a card to cast a creature from our graveyard. This allows our little guys to get cast with haste so we don't have to use our commander's ability. And last we have the Scarab God. We get to pay 4 to make a 4/4 copy of any creature in a graveyard, and when it dies, we get to return it to our hand so it's hard to get rid of. Up next is card draw cards to keep the gas flowing so we can keep on going. This section includes Sign in Blood, Mystic Remora, Rhystic Study, Curiosity Crafter, Skull Clamp, and Idol of Oblivion for all those tokens we're making. Stopping your opponents is important too, and we have some removal throughout the deck, but here's some cards strictly for removal. We've got Bedevil, we've got Croesus Charm, which has some multiple uses, Decree of Pain for a board wipe with some card draw, Blasphemous Act for a pure board wipe, and Vandal Blast to get rid of all of your opponent's artifacts. We're going to need some serious mana to keep these spells going, so here's some ramp to include in your deck. We'll have Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Rakdos Signet, Izzet Signet, and Dimir Signet. And on top of that, we'll have the Talismans. We'll have Talisman of Indulgence, Talisman of Creativity, and Talisman of Dominance. Finally, to close out the deck, we're going to have 36 lands. In this list, we're going to include as many Commander lands as we can, as many Shock lands as we can. Fetches will let you help search out the type of land you need. If you got the duels, go ahead and play them. We're going to have Command Tower, Path of Ancestry, Crumbling Necropolis, Xander's Lounge, and any combination of basics you can fit in. I really hope you enjoyed our little brew of Goro-Goro and Satoru. It's a neat little ninja brew, even though it doesn't seem like it on the surface. How would you build the deck? Would you go Haste Tribal? Would you try out this neat ninja brew? Or do you have a cool idea yourselves? Share it in the comments below so we can all get a cool idea for the future. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Look forward to more commanders from March of the Machine coming in the future.